This movie is the live-action version of the 1940 original movie. It follows the same basic narrative beats as the 1940 animated version, as Pinocchio comes to life, then attempts to become a real boy as he has to face challenges, adventures, and tough choices that threaten his goal. The movie recreates the original masterpiece largely scene for scene. Unfortunately, this movie simply doesn't work. It's really baffling, as this movie has Robert Zemeckis as director and Tom Hanks who stars as Geppetto. The movie is really lacking any soul as it never comes to life. Even before Pinocchio can leave Geppetto's home, it's already clear that while the story might be familiar, the magic just is not there. Despite our love of these characters and the quest that the wooden boy has to undergo, the spark is simply missing. Live action can sometimes bring a fresh approach to a classic, but here, there's so much CGI that you might as well be watching a cartoon at times. Even elements that could have been created practically are handed over to animation. Pinocchio himself, who is a totally CGI creation, doesn't even look like a puppet, but more like a piece of Pinocchio merchandise. The movie also decides to have Jiminy Cricket, Honest John, Geppetto's cat Figaro, Goldfish Cleo, and the clocks to be all CGI, which is a rather strange decision. On the other hand, the role for the Blue Fairy is significantly reduced to the extent that you wonder why they cast Cynthia Erivo and didn't just go full CGI. To make it worse, you would expect the CGI and live-action elements to blend well given the director's experience, but it rarely feels like the two occupy the same space. It's especially evident in any interaction between Geppetto and Pinocchio where the eye lines do not quite match, and it never looks like Geppetto is actually touching Pinocchio. This is probably the major reason why Tom Hanks' performances really feel flat and lacks the spark. His interactions with Geppetto feel hollow, making it apparent that Hanks was left to prance around and pet an inanimate object, filling in as an animal actor. Tom Hanks thrives on human interactions, and it's impossible to find that connection when acting opposite creations birthed by post-production. This movie also prefers exposition than any subtext, as Geppetto's way of talking to his animals and his creations becomes a tool for exposition. While the story very much remains the same, there are some parts that are omitted. The Blue Fairy and Honest John never appear again after their initial introductions in the movie, and if you're familiar with the original, you will know how key they were to the story upon their respective returns. Instead, this remake finds some lazy and unimaginative ways to replace them. There's no resolution to at least two major plot threads, one of which is new, while the other is resolved in the cartoon and not here. The movie instead opting to end abruptly with a baffling voiceover from Jiminy Cricket that makes this experience wholly unsatisfying for longtime fans and newcomers alike. Overall, this remake just feels flat and uninspired. We do not recommend this movie at all.